Good morning, folks. What is going on? I forgot to check my sound balance ratios for background music and oh wait, hold on. I think I'm a little low. Let's take it to there. I think that was hopefully that'll solve the problem. Hold on, let me check my volume here real quick. Hopefully that'll solve the problem. Holy Hannah, that's loud. Let me check my volume here real quick. Hopefully that'll solve the problem. Yeah, that solved the problem, Kearney. Yeah, everyone can hear you freaking loud and clear now, dude. I have about a minute. I need to do some, if you want to skip forward a minute, I have to do the social media posts real quick with the links and things. But it's I'm very close to being done. So, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, and I publish them online. We're creating an adventure for Dungeons & Dragons, 5th edition, D&D. We're using the 5e 2024 rules that came out last year. It's called Crystals of Mabar. You can see the book cover here. We're fighting necromancers, undead, and demons in the Karnwood of Karnath on the continent of Corvair. And we're doing interior illustrations, just little spot vignettes that need to be done. Here, book cover here. Here's the page that we're working on today. 16:9 format. It fits on your device like such. Each column is also 9:16, so you can look at each column individually, or you can look at a page at a time like that when it's a digital product. All these little navigation buttons down here are different sections inside of the adventure that you can click to bounce to. And when this is done, you can see here like we have section D, E, F, G. These are subsections of area 1. So each of these areas have a small description that just provides you with information. This is a complicated, an unusual shaped room, so it has a lot of stuff going on. So we have these little corner bits that occasionally end up being empty, and this one is too small to really do anything with. That's more like a margin. But over here, we're dropping in an illustration. This column here talks about this eastern bunker door, and on another map, you can see that there's a massive amount of floodwater that is built up behind it in an underground tunnel that's sloping down to this location. And if you open this door, it will flood this area and potentially any adjacent areas that have open doors with water, which could be an excellent distraction if you're trying to invade this dungeon, but you kind of have to know where you're at and where you're going with it if you wanted to. Otherwise, it's just going to draw a bunch of firepower onto you without really explaining what's going on. So we're working on this corner illustration of water flooding into the chamber. From the perspective of being over here by this wind vane. This wind vane pushes smoke away from it. It acts as a wind, as the wind wall spell, creating a sphere of wind that pushes stuff out of it in a 20-foot radius. So the poison fog that leaks through these fissures inside of this dungeon. The mercenaries that have control of this facility set up this wind vane here to create a pocket of fresh air that keeps the foul air from reaching this door, and the barracks are beyond this door where everyone eats food and stuff, so they need to keep the air clean. So they use these strategically positioned wind vanes that they're basically a pedal pump. As long as you keep pumping it like a tire, like a bike wheel, it spins, and that creates the wind wall effect. But they have unseen servants that are cast as a ritual to perform the pedaling for them so that no one has to stand around and actually do it themselves. Unless they're in trouble, they've done something wrong, they're being punished by being forced to pedal a wheel for hours, for an 8-hour shift, instead of marching up and down the promenade, which is full of poison right now. So this is the adventure that we're creating. This is the corner illustration that we're making. We have 15 more corner illustrations after this one, and then all the artwork for the book is done. I'm already in the assembly process off screen. I'm anticipating this thing publishing. 15 illustrations means if I can do 2 per week, 2 per day for 3 weeks, will be complete. And so far we're like around 1.5 or so. So hopefully, once I get the hyperlinks and all the strunging up stuff that I'm doing off screen is resolved, we'll be able to. I can do that stuff in the evening and start catching up and get this thing knocked out. Hopefully in the next 3 weeks. Hey, Commons, that's really good. Just to wrap up my intro here, I'm just yammering about stuff. If you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. Here's a bunch of other books that I've already published. They all have free previews, so just click the preview button and kick through the book. You'll see a ton of art and ideas that I have created. If you're a D&D enthusiast, if you want to pick them up because you think they're going to improve your game or take you in new directions, then I appreciate the support. Thanks. And anyone that buys a book is basically voting, make more of this shit. So that's the direction that we're heading in. So we're going to real quick here. This is the map that we're looking at. So you can see here, this is room number 1, and room number 1 is pretty complicated because it goes in multiple directions. You've got stairs that lead up. You've got a door that leads to the teleportation chamber. You got a door that leads. Here's that flooded passage we were talking about. So I'm going to grab color off of this. My blues and my blacks. That's where my color is coming from. You can see there's fissures here that drain into. For some reason, you're missing dots, buddy. Where are your dots? More dots. That didn't do it. I'm missing dots. Hold on. There we go. Dots. And hold on, is this chamber done? Oh yeah, this chamber is like actually done, like completely done. So I get to lock that one down. Hot, yeah. And now we want to go to what, page 54? There we go. All right, back to work, Kearney. Break's over. What's going on with you, comments? So I stream Monday through Fridays in the mornings like this. We do artwork, and then on Mondays and Thursday nights, like tonight, we do game design, and we're going to be building asteroid communities for the Eberron Spelljammer Orbital Bastion campaign that I've been assembling. That I'll be running on my on my Discord. There's a link to my Discord down below for people that are interested in that, by the way. I'm hoping to build a stable crew of 4 players. I'll play with 3. Like if I'm running a campaign, I'll play with a minimum of 3 players, and I'll take a maximum of 5. But 4 really is the sweet spot for running games. I think there's a lot of back and forth and chucklery that happens when you get 4 people involved. 3 people are able to are able to zoom in and buckle on to a task that needs to be get done. So if you want a fast-moving campaign but has a lot of player-driven motive behind it, 3 people is a good space to be. But 4 is where shenanigans begin. 5 is where shenanigans end. And disarray begins. Once you get into 6+ people at your table, it's, in my opinion, it's too much. You're not able, at that point. Okay, so if you think about it this way, the player is going to eat up about a third of the content of the time that's available through descriptions and barking orders and corralling cats. The DM is going to speak more than anyone else. And I think if the DM is speaking more than 50% of the time, there is a serious problem with that campaign being a game. So DM's probably going to come in around 30% due to just engaged players require the DM to tell them more. That's a good thing. And that only leaves 60% of the window left for anyone else. If you get to 6 people, that means that everyone else only gets to talk 10% of the time. That is way too fucking small. 3% is really 3 people is really efficient. As you can see, there's about 20% talk time available for each person at the table. If they're more introverted and they don't want to talk as much, it's okay because of the amount of volume of content that's being put out by their comrades is going to cover that gap. But here's the thing about the introvert. The introvert needs to have the space available for them to refuse to engage with. They just need space. So if a crowd is if a crowd is too big, there's not enough space because all of the oxygen in the room is being eaten up by too many people firing off ideas. They need to have the space enough for them to have a presence that matters without them necessarily having to impose anything that they want to say or think upon anyone else. They can just absorb, but the amount of absorption is slow enough that they don't get overwhelmed in the process. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So 3 people is ideal, even if you only have 2 people that are really driving the ship. With 3 people being there, it becomes obvious occasionally, hey, the introvert needs to say something, so that third person has the opportunity to speak. If you have 3 people that are driven, then they are all basically going to be punching out so much content that the DM workload stays at that 30% because they're going to be tossing over each other to try to instigate what's going to happen. When you get to 4 people, that amount drops to 15%, and ish, like 18% maybe, because fractions, and that's barely enough. As long as everyone keeps punching forward, there's going to be plenty of drive on the team. You have space for an introvert, which is honestly ideal. Out of the 4 people, having one introvert giving up their 15% to be able to observe other people abusing that 15% means that the other 3 people get 20% each. That is a ton of personal force to be able to really drive forward a plot line. And the DM is only a slightly above the ratio of everyone else. So it actually feels that 4-person team means that the 100% can really be split up amongst 20%. The inevitable introvert in the party that only needs 10% opens up that 10% for the DM to use for the 30% narrative aspect and command of the table. That's why 4 people feels best. So when you get to 5 people, it starts to get too thin. If you have 2 introverts out of 5 on the party, the team can still move forward, but it's going to have lurches. and the 3 people that are still competing for that attention, 10%, that's 3 people that now have to split up. That 50% of the room, that's 3 people between 50%. That's only like 17%. You can do it, but people are starting to get left behind. And if you have too many introverts that will allow for that lost space, there won't be enough emotional drive in the adventure to continue campaigns forward from episode to episode. If you have 5 people that like to take the lead, then they are all basically getting 12% each. It's starting to get thin. So you can do it on 5, but once you get to 6, those numbers start dropping into single digits of percentages. Or you have too many introverts on the team to maintain momentum, or people feel neglected because somebody is hogging up too much space and isn't letting other people that need to express themselves the opportunity to do so. So you kind of see how those numbers kind of play out. 4 is really the sweet spot. 3 is if you have a dedicated team, you can get a lot of work done. Otherwise, it's going to feel a little thin. 5 people, if the DM is good with efficiency, can open up enough space for extroverts to be able to have the limelight that they need each session, and the introvert won't feel crowded. But it's difficult. You have to really play with balance and paying attention to different people and good pacing. It takes a lot of practice to run a table of 5 efficiently to run through like a 20-level campaign and to be able to retain enough people. Inevitably, my campaigns, when I run from level 1 to 20, I'll typically start with 5, knowing that we're naturally going to lose people at the 6-month mark, like at the 6 episode mark, which is like 2 months in, at the 6-month mark, because people's lives start to change a little bit, and at the 1 year, somewhere between 6 months and 1 year, you're going to lose another person. So you have to, if you start with 5 people at your table and you want to retain it through the end, you need to anticipate having to recruit a new person somewhere between 2 and 6 months in, and again somewhere past that 6-month mark. So at the early end and that 2 to 6 month mark, you're still going to be on a 20 level campaign. You're still going to be like somewhere between level 3 and 7. So you're going to be early enough in the campaign that adding on new people is going to make a difference, that they'll have enough control over the narrative to stick with it through the end. They have ownership. Once you get past 6 months, if you recruit on a new person, they're going to feel like an outsider the entire campaign for the rest of the year plus, assuming that you run your campaign like in 15 months from level 1 to 20. which basically means you're going to gain a level like basically every 3 sessions if you play on a weekly basis. So that's the pacing that I'm assuming when we're talking here. I've ran 4 campaigns that paced about 270 hours apiece, which comes down to like around 57, 60 some odd episodes at 3 hours or more each, like 3.5 hours to 4 hours each. Basically every 3 sessions, basically 12 hours in game equals gain a level. And depending on how long your sessions are, is going to pace how fast you're going to level up from level 1 to 20. And I typically run 3 some odd hour games so that every 3 or 4 sessions they'll gain a level, which is enough for the varnish to start to wear off of the new level that they gain. It's time to level up and gain, and get another pop of character build dopamine rush. Sorry, I think I need to pause and reflect. So yeah, you're going to lose people naturally to attrition. It's just going to happen over time. People change. Even if you as a DM are capable of maintaining the emotional energy and the level of content and interest to sustain a campaign from level 1 to 20 over the course of 15 months, the people that you brought on board, you're going to lose some of them. Even if all 5 of them are gun-ho committed to being in the project for the full 15 months, shit happens. Life always goes first, comes first. The game goes first when life comes first. You'll lose somebody, again, somewhere between 2 and 6 months, and then somewhere between 6 months and a year. So you're going to have to recruit on more people. If you start with 5, you can afford to lose 2 and still have 3 people, because sometimes you lose more than 2 people. So you're going to want to recruit in again, keep a recruiting going at the 6-month mark, knowing that those 5 people you brought in, you're now going to get dropped to 4, and you may have to cycle through a couple people before they stick and hit that 6-month mark, where you could lose another person again, and then you'll at least still have 3 people to coast you through to the end. Ideally, those 5, you lose 1, you replace 1, so you bring in, so you're still at 5. So then if somebody gets lost along the way, you'll end up at 4, and you can still try to recruit. But by the time you get to level 15, everyone's going to be like, let's just finish off with who we have. That's just how it works. So if you can retain 3 or 4 people by the time you get to 15th level, the people that have remained are there because they want a 20th level character. They want to stick it through to actually running a full campaign. And so you'll most likely be able to stick it out with those people. But you might have to start condensing the content that you have to be able to, you might speed up gaining levels. So once I got to 15th level, I sped up the pace so that we were gaining a level every 3 sessions instead of every 3 or 4. So in the mid-level, like around level 3 to 10, you're going to want to have pushing out 4 episodes, 4 sessions per level feels good. So you can squeeze them in at like the first 2 levels, like 1 session at level 1, 2 sessions at level 2, and then on forward there. 3 sessions, like say to level 5, and then from level 5 to 12, 4 sessions each, and then start contracting them back down. So at level 13 to 20, it's 3 episodes each, so you can clip through them. Because by the time the characters get to level 13 to 15, they become the driving force in the campaign. At early levels, the DM is the driving force because the players don't know anything. They're still learning the world. They're trying to figure out what's important to me, what's not important to me. What kind of a theme do we want for our team? Are we forming a particular grudge against any NPCs or organizations at this point that we want to focus fire towards? Is there any particular cause or community that we've fallen in love with by level 3 that we want to sustain and improve with our resources to basically apply our 20th level characters towards a goal? That goal is going to be realized. It cannot be stopped. So you have these transition points in a campaign. And that's why it's so difficult to pick up people deep into the game, because the grudges have been established, the goals are realized, and accomplishments are being attained. And the people that built those from scratch, from nothing at the start of the campaign of, hey, what's this Moonshade place like, to I want to reform the Moon Gates. Like, that becomes our theme and goal for our campaign. Fucking cool, man. Let's build in some Lorewind into this place. That sounds awesome. So, like, but if you're stepping in, it's like, yeah, we've completed 3 of the 6 Moon Gates to open Lorewind back into the Forgotten Realms. If you're jumping in on that campaign at level 15, you can just sense how much shit you haven't been a part of. You're going to feel like a third wheel till the end of the campaign. Some people, when I've recruited them at that stage in the past, have been like, so what's your goal here? Well, we're going to go to level 20, but we're level 15 right now. Like, fuck, I've never ran a high-level campaign before. Okay, I'm in. What's after? And sometimes the ones that are good ones will stick around. They'll ask, what's next? Like, what happens after that campaign? Are we done or what? They know we're going to start a new campaign at level 1, and we're going to go level 20. And then they're like, okay, I'm in, because if I can get in, I can get a taste of this high level stuff, and if I like the cut of the team's jib, I will then stick around for the next campaign and be a stalwart that you can count on, because I'm in. But you run these cycles, you have the opportunity to introduce somebody new into your mix, run with them, see if they stick. They might decide that they don't like teammates or something after 6 months. That's where your attrition can occur. They're gonna, I liked the campaign. It was cool. It's just, this one isn't for me, and it's a lot of commitment. I'm out. And it's like, awesome. Thanks for committing. Thanks for sticking it through, and thanks for being honest with your assessment of where you're at, knowing what level of dedication you're going to have in the project. So, like, you can stick through campaigns level 1 to 20 if you have a game plan like that. You see? I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but isn't that just me, huh? That's kind of what I do. I don't know what launched that mini rant. I know that I'm starting up a campaign, right, for Spelljammer Eberron, and it's going to go from level 5 to 13. We'll end in 13th level. Like, 13 will be our capstone level, so that's where the campaign will end, somewhere inside level 13. And so that's going to run for like 8 months. So if I run every Saturday morning from 9:30 till 1 Seattle time for 4 weeks, each 4 weeks, roughly 1 month, we'll run through gaining a level, 4 sessions for a level. The Bastion campaign, it's structured so that we have a Bastion turn, where the team decides how many communities they want to issue orders to, basically as the organization, to like make more potions or build a Spelljammer helm, or recruit. We want to level up our facility. Like, we want to make our workshop 3rd rank instead of 2nd rank, so we have to recruit 3rd rank hirelings to man the operations inside of that workshop so it can operate. It has we invest the resources into that facility to make it 3rd rank, and now we have to invest in recruiting people to operate it at 3rd rank. Otherwise, it can still only perform at 2nd rank. So you have to you invest Bastion points into the facilities to level them up in ranks. As you gain levels and as your Bastion gains ranks with you, you can then upgrade all the facilities in your Bastion. But for the Bastion to actually operate, you then have to issue orders to recruit new people, or as an adventurer, you can go out and recruit people that are high enough CR or have a high enough renown score or proficiency with the skills, tools, and magic that is needed to operate each of the facilities. So, like, you could have like a 3rd rank observatory that is able to perceive into the astral plane and look into other planes, like contact other planes sort of effect, to gather information about different realities. But if you don't have a high enough diviner capable of wielding that magic to find that level of depth, you're going to be limited on how deep you can scope. So as players, you can decide, are we just going to make this a passive task and have our Bastion basically start trying to recruit somebody, a higher level diviner that's able of performing this? We don't know what they're going to require to basically plant their flag and become our oracle, our diviner. How are we going to cultivate that? That becomes a domain-style leadership activity that you can either relegate to the guild, to your bastion, to be a high enough rank to be able to find those people, and then let us know, what arrangements do we need to make, and is that going to be worth it to us or not, right? That's that we find out what our recruit needs, and then we accommodate them. In this campaign, there's a teleportation circle that needs a 3rd rank operator to be able to have enough magic to get to the locations that we want. And so currently on deck, the guild has found a rogue red dragon that is willing to basically make its lair among this community and act as the magic reservoir to power the teleportation circle. But it wants a 1/3 of the electrum mine that's being mined by the community for it to start creating a treasure trove that it can feel comfortable with as its home. Otherwise, it's going to have to start raiding somebody somewhere, taking loot from something to start accumulating its treasure. So it's basically saying, you either recruit me as your teleportation focus, or I'll start raiding your communities and taking your electrum from you. So it's kind of like a backhanded deal that they're making. Red dragons aren't necessarily evil in Eberron. This one just happens to be very selfish. It has the black-red streak inside of it. And it sees an opportunity for it to gain leverage and power, which is what dragons do. So it's just following its nature. But it's a powerful magical creature with a high enough CR to act as effectively a 9th level plus character. So it has enough proficiency bonus and personal power as a dragon to fulfill that role. So it can operate and basically maintain the structure of a 3rd rank teleportation circle, which gives you bonuses to trade and movement, and you can utilize it to go to different locations, blah, blah, blah. But those negotiations are currently ongoing. So it's not, the teleportation circle isn't immediately available to the players to make use of. So at the early level of the campaign, they're restricted to their immediate region to deal with immediate threats to get basically bolted, to grind into the community as a whole. So the team basically has to stay at home and deal with local issues before the teleportation circle becomes active, and they open up opportunities to go explore other locations, which they'll need as they gain levels, as they continue pushing up the rank of different facilities that they have access to in their bastion. They're going to need higher level characters, especially if they want to have 4th rank at 13th level. They will have to get to a 4th rank community. The only way they'll be able to do that is through a teleportation circle. So them having, there's this long, over the course of 3 or 4 levels, that teleportation circle is going to come online, and there's going to be a red dragon that's known to be in your community, and it's going to carve out a section of space for itself in the community to call its own lair. And so we're going to see what that becomes over the course of the campaign, and see if that interrupts the plans, if it becomes an antagonist to plans that the players have, or if it becomes an ally that the team can rely on further into the campaign. So really fun opportunity. But that's the Dominion style of play that existed back in the days of BECME. The 1st edition BX, 1st edition D&D. It was assumed that this was the type of thing that was going to be going on. It just happens that the 5e game engine is super good at building that sort of narrative. It's just no one has done it. I haven't seen any Kickstarter projects or anything coming out from Wizards of the Coast or any third party that's really leaning into this idea of dominion control and leadership, building up communities using the 5e game engine. It's what BECME and BX is all about. Take your characters from level 1 to level 9 as fast as you can, so that you can start acquiring land, a kingdom, and an army, so that you can aspire to larger goals. Even if your larger goal is, I want to have a smithy that's powerful enough to create a magical artifact hammer for my dwarven character, because I think that'd be cool. That is cool. So yeah, you should be able to do something like that. So you have to build up the resources and ability to craft that sort of hammer. And that was like a goal that you could set for yourself inside the Beckme game and the old original D&D, and it completely supported the mechanics of being able to do things like that. It was built into the game. It was assumed this was the kind of shit you were going to get up to once you get to level 13, 15, 20, 35. The original Beckme system went to level 36. And then you started playing the Immortal series. Once you got to level 36, your character qualified to become a demigod. And to start over again at level 1 on the god tier to become immortal. And it's a completely different style of game. It uses, for the most part, incredibly different mechanics from what the BX. Like BX, you have your character stuff, and that always remains the same. And then you get into warfare and like kingdom management at level 9. Level 13, it's assumed that you have an army, a legion of NPCs that follow you, and they use a completely different rule set than what the character set uses. In Beckme, to like operate your character, it's a completely different system to operate multiple characters, and the Dominion side of like running your kingdom uses a completely different system. And then once you graduate mortality into the Immortal system uses a completely different game engine than the warfare system. I think it was called Battle System, from what Battle System used and what your characters used to explore dungeons and environments. It had these 3 completely different game systems that you ran over the course of your effectively 50 character levels, like level 1 to 36 as Immortal, and then I think it's like level 1 to 15 as an Immortal. So it was like basically 50 levels in the original Beckme system. And that didn't even get completed publishing until like 1988 or something. They were still churning out books. Maybe it was 89. It was somewhere like Beckme was still putting out books, like box sets for Beckme, well into the existence of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It was its own progressing system on its own. And I saw and messed around with Immortals, but I never played Immortals. I didn't have it at that point. The tables that I was involved with were all doing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition and then second edition. And I never got into the Masters series, like level 18 plus. I never got into level 18 plus in Beckme. But so there is some foundation there to say, hey, even the original system of Dungeons and Dragons never used the same mechanics for your characters from level 1 to Immortal 15. They changed and adapted, and it was a completely different rule set. So you could realistically have different rule sets for warfare and kingdom management and character dungeon delving for your 5e characters from level 1 to 20. But it just happens that the 5e game engine is flexible enough that it can actually provide unifying mechanics at all those different scales and tiers of play. So if it can, that makes it the best game engine. 3rd edition attempted to take on all of this, and for the most part stayed true to its own D20 game engine design, but it was incredibly clunky. It was 3E clunky, and it just got clunkier the higher the level you got. 5e is elegant. It is sleek system design. It is a light system. It allows minimal types of mechanic, like the ability check mechanic can literally run the entire game at all levels of play and all gears. It is ability checks is like the ultimate gear, and like Shadow Dark leans into the ability check idea. Like it's basically all ability checks in Shadow Dark, and that makes it feel very lightweight narrative by nature, because the ability check mechanic resolves so much in that game. I'm in a similar vein of thought, but I'm in love with D&D. So when I think of let's build more gears in the ability check engine, that allows me to create warfare and kingdom management, because it's all just ability checks. It's just what abilities what abilities does an army have? What abilities does a community have? And the first person to really dive into this space is Adam Hancock, who is a fucking genius. I love working with him when he's willing to be my editor on projects. he is the one that originally came up with the idea of communities can have ability scores and make ability checks. I just changed the focus away from individual ability, like stats. Like you don't have stats in my systems. You have orders, or you issue orders, and the orders are like their own sort of ability check that don't use ability scores. Adam's direction was, if you have a community, let's create ability scores for the community, like commerce instead of intelligence and military instead of strength. That's a great system, and it totally works. But when Wizards of the Coast created the Bastion campaign, they now created something, an ability check that's an order. Or they didn't create an ability. They just created 7 types of orders, like research and crafting and empower and trade and recruit. They created orders, kind of like skills. They basically created a recruiting skill as opposed to a negotiation skill. But they didn't have any ability scores assigned to the bastions that are carrying out these orders. So I kind of married the idea between what Adam Hancock has done with his Valdron's Kingdom Builder and what D&D has done with Bastions, and basically created an alternate skill set system that armies and guilds and kingdoms and communities and settlements and churches, they can use the skills of the skills of Dominion, and characters can use their ability score, but the guilds, kingdoms, and armies have proficiency dice. Instead of a proficiency bonus, they have proficiency dice, and their rank, it replaces whatever ability score it is that they would have. So it's the same sort of ability check system, but it uses the proficiency dice variant that is rampant in what game is it? It's Renegade Games, thank you, who published My Little Pony, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Power Rangers. It uses the Essence 20 engine, which is a D20 engine that focuses specifically on using proficiency bonus dice instead of ability score bonuses. So like you have very few +1, +2 modifiers in Essence 20, but I could, like, when I make an attack roll with a ranged weapon, I add a D8 to my D20. I roll a D4 D8, D4 D6 D8, and add the best one to my D20 to get the result that I get. But if I'm stupid with computers, I just roll a D20, and I don't even add any proficiency dice. If I'm a Transformer jet and I'm really good at flying, like agility in the air, then I might roll a D20 plus the best of a D4, D6, D8, D10, and whichever one of those results is best for me, I will use that. And the Essence 20 system is cool because whichever die rolls the maximum value is a crit. So you can roll a D4, D6, D8, and D10, and if you roll a 6 on a 6-sided die, you've crit at the D6 level of proficiency. So you'll crit, but the effect isn't as awesome, but that effect is a critical success. As opposed to, like, if I rolled a D4, D6, D8, D10, and I rolled a 10 on the 10, that is not only my best proficiency die with the maximum result possible for my character, but I also crit while I did it, so it's even better. So, like, the Essence 20 system is a little more complicated than the way that I take it. So the way that I build these armies, guilds, and kingdom mechanics is like a space somewhere between 5e, Essence 20, and Shadow Dark, like where those three things kind of spin around each other. This Bastion system that I've been developing sits kind of inside of all three of them. So it's really fun. But it's the 5e game engine really is the best game engine ever of being able to scale up and down in scope, both in literally in size, but also in scale of like personnel being involved. Like instead of being an individual effort, it becomes a group effort, becomes a movement across a nation, becomes an entire army taking action. But the mechanics stay the same. It's just the narrative focus changes. Only the 5e game engine is the only engine I've seen that really does it elegantly. because I've been playing D&D for 40 years. GURPS, Palladium, Call of Cthulhu, various versions of Call of Cthulhu, Gamma World, a World of Darkness like Vampire and Werewolf and Changeling. I know there's a whole human occupied landfill. Already said GURPS. I'm sure there's other things. I'm sure I've done Shadow Run, as well as Shadow Dark and Pathfinder, first edition, not second edition. I haven't played Pathfinder second edition. Super Atomic. I've played a lot of different game engines over the years, and only 5e is the most intuitive to me for being able to retain the exact same mechanics at different scales. I wasn't able to. I know this is a direction that I've been heading in with mecha and guild control and vehicle combat for years, ever since second edition in Dark Sun, honestly, is where I've been focused on it. But 5e created the 5e game engine has opened the door for me to really build the tools that I like to build for the type of campaigns that I like to run. And because they can all be ran so well inside of 5e, I've basically been using the 5e D&D game engine. I mean, I'm a huge fanboy of D&D. I've been playing D&D literally for 40 years. I love all the IPs. I love the settings. I love the culture. I love the lore. D&D is its own thing, man. Nothing's like D&D. I've been spending a lot of time making this flow here. Mostly just because I've been rambling, but I'm stacking up effects. So this is one smoothed out. I'm now going to, let's switch to a round brush. Thank you. I'm now going to start filling in the base here with black on a separate layer and building up on top of it. This might take a few sessions. I've got a timer going. I only have about 30 minutes left? Yeah, I only got about 30 minutes left today, so we're not going to complete this, but we may very well get a long way down the road. But that's okay, because once I've finished all the bookmarking in the book. So all the destinations to like when you hyperlink something, like if you were to click this A button, it will take you to the Appendix A. If I click this button, it'll take you to the underground facility. This will take you to Appendix B. All the destinations for all the button clicking that can happen throughout the adventure. Like whenever it says you're attacked by a mob of 6 ghouls, 6 ghouls is bold. So if you click on it, it'll take you to mobs of ghouls, like the stat blocks for mobs of ghouls in the monster section of the book, Appendix A. So all the hyperlinking, all the destinations are done. Right now, tonight, we're going to be doing Eberron Bastion campaign stuff, like I've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. But for the rest of the week, when I'm off camera, all my production time goes to the origin, like where it says a mob of 6 ghouls. That gets highlighted. I then select that, and then click into hyperlinks, and then go to destination, bookmark equals mob of ghouls on page 67 or whatever. That's what I'll be doing between now and Monday. And assuming I have enough time and everything goes smoothly, I should have that entire document. I should have all the text hyperlinked by Monday. And then Monday night we'll do another game design stream, and then the rest of the week will be me taking in the images that we're building here, these pages. Like this is a single, these boxes, this map, this illustration. This is all the frame. This is all one illustration. That's 11 inches wide, 11 inches tall, 17 inches wide. And so we'll take that whole piece and we'll basically drop it into the background of the Word document that we're actually building the PDF inside of. So by this time next week, we should probably, we will be at the point where we're taking like for example, again here, here's the full map of the underground dungeon. So when we build it, we'll have an invisible box that surrounds room 5, and so anywhere that you press on the PDF on your tablet, anywhere that you click 5, it'll take you to the page that has the information about page 5, and then you can click the box that's around this. If you click that, it'll take you back to this map. So you can, and this box will be highlighted. Once we get all this strung up, this box will be highlighted as your active area. So when I'm in Appendix A, the Appendix A will the letter A will be black, and then the box will be the background, this gray color, so it'll invert, so you'll know which room that you're in, like which area you're inside of, to go back to the beginning of that section. Or like if I'm in the flooded fortress right now and I'm fighting drowned assassins, and I click the word drowned assassin, that'll bounce me to A, the appendix, the specific page where drowned assassins are at. I can then click A to go to the mob section to see what's a mob of these creatures like, or I can click on the flooded fort, click and bounce back to the flooded fort map, which I can then like say click here, room 12, I'll click that, and that'll then bounce me to room 12 where it's talking about drowned assassins. So I can bounce around navigation by pressing buttons on the PDF to take you from point of information to information that I need without ever losing my place, because all the places I want to go are hyperlinked for you to click into. So everything's 1 or 2 clicks away. So it makes it really easy to navigate around inside of the document. And then we provide all the maps and stuff as an as a download packet, so that while you're you get all the maps, so you can print them out if you want to play at the kitchen table, or blah blah blah, whatever. Here we go. All right, let's get back to work. So that's what, by this time next week, I anticipate that we'll be hyperlinking the maps, putting invisible boxes over them, and then making those invisible boxes be a hyperlink active location that when you click takes you to the destination that we've already defined. That's nitty gritty shit. Like the text of the adventure is done unless I find any there's always typos. It's unavoidable. You'll always find typos. It'll never be perfect. But because I have to change the text so much to make things fit, I've had to, even though we've had 2 passes over on this with an editor, which is Stuart Braz, God bless you for your patience and mercy with me. But even then, after that, those passes by a third-party editor, I still have to go in and make changes so that the text can fold around the images that we make, and that causes me to make revisions here and there. So at some point, after I have a professional editor, like a third-party editor, chew on my stuff, I know that I'm going to be self-editing along the way as well, which is great, because at that point, it isn't the same document that I wrote. It's already been chewed through by an editor twice and revised, and it's not the original text that I built, so I'm no longer really the writer of this book. At this point, I basically can start editing as a third party myself with, integrity. So we're done with all of that, but I could still accidentally introduce typos, but I think we've damn near ran out of them. So me working on each page like this with artwork and stuff over time allows me an opportunity to look at the page over and over and over again. It's like, the wording there doesn't feel right. And that's why I'll go in and I'll make changes and have to edit things myself, because after spending a ridiculous amount of time on each page with the artwork that we do for them, I build more of a relationship with each page through the artwork that we do. And so I get more and more critical of the information that's on it, which causes me to tighten it up and make it better and add in some flavor here where it won't cause any damage to add more flavor, and blah, blah, blah. It's an ongoing creative process, but that's the advantage of being a writer and editor, being able to do page layouts and artwork for my own books. I can invite people in to give me an external perspective in the form of like technical editors and flow editors and proofreaders, co-writers, Yeah, but I always do all my own work. I always do my own cartography. This is the opportunity for me to slow down and spend time on specific pages and just to absorb it, to help make it my own. I love that. I never knew. I hadn't known until I started doing it how much more building an entire supplement feels as opposed to just doing the art or just doing encounter design or blah blah blah. It's doing the entire project. It's like I get to really just take things inside my heart and build them and share them with other people. It's amazing. It's a wonderful experience. I'm kind of addicted to it. I'll occasionally take commissions to do artwork, but I rarely do writing for other people now. I rarely do any editing for other people now. Most of the time, it's just me building these ideas, these styles of play that I'm in love with. I love running them as a DM, so I like making tools to infect other players with how cool like Dominion style play can be, so that I can DM more people in the Dominion style of play. Like if I can get you to fall in love with running Dominions in your campaign, then I get to run campaigns where you want Dominions. It's like, then we can really just explore ideas and have fun. So that's why I build player and DM supplements. Is I like to, like, as I develop these styles of play, I can codify them into rule sets that DMs can run as games. And like, I ran this game in this style. It's super fucking cool. Here's how to do it. Like, that's the supplement. Like, here's how to play this sort of a game. And then as players, here's things that, as a player, that you can do in a campaign to make this stuff cool. And it's like, yeah, that does sound cool. I'm on board. Great. Now I get to actually run the kind of campaign in the style that I want to run with people that want to run it in that style. Does that make sense? That's where the love and the passion comes from. Stuff that I publish, I use. Like, look at any of the supplements that I've created, and I can tell you what campaign that was relevant for. The only exception to that rule is Nature's Ally, which was a Strixhaven subclass design idea that I published as a proof of concept that you can make, that you can take two separate character classes and build a prestige class from those two. It was Nature's Ally is a Druid Wizard prestige subclass that lets you level up in either Druid or Wizard at the same. Like whenever you gain a level, you can multi-class into Druid or into Wizard, but those two levels add up for gaining your subclass. It's like you could take 3 levels of Wizard and 7 levels of Druid, and now you qualify for the 10th level subclass option for Nature's Ally if that's the path that you're following. So the Druid won't get, like, the Druid got a subclass at 3 and at 6. The Wizard got a subclass at 3 and at 6. So at level 10, you qualify between 3 levels of Wizard and 7 levels of Druid. That's 10 levels between the two of them. You can now take the 10th level Nature's Ally option, but you're level 10 already. So you're already level 10. You're 3-7. So you're not going to have another subclass option until level 6 as a Druid, or level 14 as a Druid. Level 6 as a Wizard, and level 14 as a Druid. So which levels do you want to gain? And you'll get your subclass when you reach that subclass level. And so Nature's Ally has 3, 6, 10, 14. And between Druid and Wizard, you've got 3, 3, 6, 6, 10, 10, 14, 14. You've got 8 subclasses worth of options for a 4 subclass Nature's Ally prestige subclass option. So you can afford to have two full subclasses between Druid and Wizard. It's just which 2 subclasses are you going to choose? or you could have like 3 or 4 of them. You could have a few 3rd level subclass options, and then you could have like Nature's Ally from like 3, 6, 10, 14, and then have 3, 3, 3, 3 for other subclasses. It's a style. That's a style of gameplay of basically gestalt subclasses, where you only have one class at a time, but you can have multiple subclasses active at the same time. So the more you multi-class, the more you can open up different class options. And then you can have like a ranger rogue could have a scout subclass that you could take with either levels of ranger or rogue. But like I could take Fey Wanderer for my ranger at level 3 and 7, and then my rogue at level 3 takes Arcane Trickster. And then when I get level 9 as a rogue or level 10, level 11 as a paladin, in either one of those circumstances, I could then take like the first rank of scout. And then like rogue 9, ranger 11, ranger 15, and rogue 17, rogue 18, I think. Rogue 17? No, yeah, 17. I could take the 4 levels of scout, for instance. And then my last rogue level, I could take another level of Arcane Trickster, for instance. So it's a different character. It's a different way of building characters, but it's fun. That's what the Nature's Ally was a proof of concept for that. And I never actually ran a Nature's Ally in a campaign. But I might when I finish my my Divine Sorcerer in Tressa Strahd. There we go. We're building a curve here. Now we're going to fill that in with our blue. There, like that. I want to create these liquid-like curves to show depth of waves as these will eventually become waves that are pushing out of this passage here. So I'm creating these striated layers to define one wave, like one crashing wave from another. And this is just basically me pushing pixels, so I can just ramble about stuff while I do that. This doesn't actually require any real concentration. When I get into building the cresting waves and the sprays, like the white spray splash that's coming off of this, that's going to require some concentration. But we're not going to be doing that today. We won't have the time to do that. All we have time today is building the frame for these different waves to crash. Yeah, it's 7:42. I've got like 10 minutes. So, but I stream Monday through Friday every day. And you can hear it in my voice. The pneumonia is clearing out of my system really nicely. I should have plenty of endurance to run like a 3-hour session tonight to build another asteroid community. God damn, that was a ton of fun. If you want to catch up, there was like a 3-hour stream that I ran on Monday. It's the game design, the Eberron Spelljammer Bastion campaign. I think it's episode 16 that was on Monday. But it's the most recent one in the playlist, in the Eberron Spelljammer playlist. You can check that out. We built a 60-mile diameter asteroid into a planetoid community of 4,100 people. That's on this 60-mile diameter asteroid, and we used all the tricks from the World Builders Guide from second edition, and all the Bastion mechanics that we've developed online here over the past year using my Bastion campaign system to build out that community, to place all the hamlets and towns and villages on the asteroid, where the forest and field resources were at, where the defense points on it are at for military fortresses to defend the community. And we scaled out how mecha combat would move and function on that asteroid. So we get to build. We have 5 more communities that we get to build using this method, and we did the biggest first. So the rest of these theoretically should be easier. So we're going to build another community tonight. If that's interesting to you guys, if you want to see, like I was talking about the domain system a lot during this session because that's what's on my mind for tonight. If that sounded interesting to you, check out that stream that I'm doing because it's going to be a deep dive into actual practical application of those mechanics and ideas in game prep for a campaign that I'll run, that I've been talking about running from level 5 to 13. So, hey, what's up? Hey, Krona. Good morning. Yeah, that's what I'm rambling about. Bashing stuff today. I'll be doing bashing campaign tonight, so I'm advertising my own stream that'll happen this evening. So Mecha Combat is yeah. It's we're using my Spelljammer mechanics to build Mecha Kaiju combat, and we're building the asteroid communities that the Mecha are defending Gundam style from Kaiju attack, Godzilla, Evangelion style. So that's the theme of the campaign. We have 20-foot Mecha at level 5. When the team advances to level 9 and build out their Mecha hangar facilities to 3rd rank, they could make Mecha 30 feet in size. A 5th rank Mecha hangar can build Mecha 50 feet in size. We don't have a shipyard yet, but I think we're going to probably be... We don't have a shipyard in this community. We just have some Spelljammers. But so the Mecha are basically humanoid-shaped fighter craft, right? Mega combat armies. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we do. The Spelljammer system that I built is designed for mega scale. Mega scale monsters, mega sized ships and characters, operating using the Spelljammer mechanics that we developed for ship combat, which is super cool. But the bashing campaign system has the mechanics for mass warfare. Basically, resolving mass warfare as essentially like 1st to 5th level characters is the same level of complexity. Super simple stuff, but super fun. So, we'll be building out another asteroid community tonight. The defenses, what their barracks are, how much manpower do they have, where the resources are located, where the community hubs are at on the asteroid. So that when a kaiju attacks it, because an asteroid is basically a rocky sphere, I translate that into isolohedron, a D20, whatever I can never remember the fucking name, but it's a 20-sided die. If you lay out a 20-sided die flat, it's 20 triangles. So on Monday we did our first, and we'll do another one tonight, is basically flattening out that D20 and then overlaying it over our grid and then filling in the grid with resources, community locations, and special features on that asteroid. So when a kaiju attacks, it attacks for like D6 hours, for instance. The higher rank the kaiju, the longer it attacks a community. So a 1st rank kaiju attacks for D4 hours. A 5th rank attacks for D12, so D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, like everything else that I do. So a 3rd rank kaiju will attack for D8 hours, and each hour it'll change which. I'll roll a 20-sided die, and that's the triangle on the community that it moves to. So a natural 1 is the hub of the community, like the city. Like the one we did on Monday, there was 1 town, a few villages, and a bunch of hamlets. So number 1, if you roll a 1 on the D20, then it would be the actual town that's attacked. On like a 20, it's a blank field. It's just an empty field, whatever. It's not even being cultivated right now. So we have this D20 that every hour the kaiju will change locations to change where it's feeding. And so we'll roll a 20-sided die each hour that it's there, and that's what gets attacked. So like if it takes the team 4 hours to get to that community to defend it from the kaiju, and the kaiju is going to feed for 7 hours, then the team has basically, it'll get there after the kaiju has already attacked 4 different triangles in that community. And if there's no, if that's like an unused triangle, then the team doesn't lose any bastion points. The community doesn't actually get damaged because the kaiju is feeding where they don't care about. But if it attacks the town and the team isn't there to defend it, that kaiju is going to deal D8 points of bastion points of damage. So like if a 3rd rank town has like a 3rd rank smithy and it deals 5 bastion points of damage, that smithy could be ground down to 0 as the kaiju walks by. So now you can't use the smithy in that community until it gets repaired, which is going to require an order for you to issue to repair it, which is going to eat up your resources. So you might not do much with that community after a kaiju attack. If you can get to the community fast and defeat the kaiju before it does any damage, then you don't have to waste any action or action economy or bastion turns repairing your facilities because you defended them from being damaged. And you want to defend your bastion facilities because like that smithy might be making a magical hammer for your character, and while the smithy is destroyed, it can't make your hammer. So getting your hammer has been delayed until you fix the smithy. Is it a priority to you now? Yes, it is. Damn it, that's my smithy. Like we were talking about the potion emporium, being able to create 24 healing potions per bastion turn for the characters to use in kaiju combat. But if that potion emporium gets damaged by kaiju or sabotaged by terrorists, then you can't use the potion emporium until you repair the potion emporium. So now your team becomes concerned about protecting the potion emporium because that's your source of magic. You get free magic potions from it as long as it's producing for you. But if I target it with a terrorist attack as part of the calamities for this bastion turn, you now have to chase down that terrorist organization that's destroying your potion factory so that you can have a stable source of potions moving forward. It becomes a complication that the team now has to deal with. So there'll be events like this that crop up throughout the campaign, and we'll be using my mecha kaiju mechanics to fight off kaiju that are attacking the communities, while the team has, like, we're chasing down pirates this session. Cool. Get in your Spelljammer ship and go chase down those pirates and do some pirate combat to defeat them. Maybe you'll capture their ship. Cool. We now have an extra ship. We can do more Spelljammer stuff with that ship to protect more communities more easily. And now you're starting to scale out. It's like, is it just our characters that are doing stuff? Do we want to pilot that Spelljammer ship, or do we just want to use that Spelljammer ship as a military force to fight the kaiju off screen? Let's just make an ability check. Let's just see how it goes. And it basically becomes a single round of combat. And depending on how that round of combat goes, you know how well your bastion did, you know how well your ship is doing, and you know if the kaiju got defeated or not. Because it wasn't something you were willing to deal personally as characters because you were dealing with something else. You relegate that task to NPCs, but you still get to resolve it as a skill challenge. You see? So all combat can be ran as a skill challenge if you don't want to invest a ton of energy on the 5e game engine combat. If you want to make your Strixhaven campaign combat light, you could relegate all combat in the campaign to ability checks. And depending on how well you do in the skill challenge determines how damaged you got, and if you were able to defeat, by the time you defeat the threat, you got this damaged. And that is going to, you're going to be like this level of exhaustion, so all of your ability checks are going to have this level of penalty until you've been able to successfully heal yourself with downtime rest or however you structure the campaign. But you could run an entire Strixhaven campaign without combat by making it in ability checks, for instance, if that's how you wanted to run your campaign. And I've got 20 seconds left in today's session. Then I got to log out. I'll be back tonight playing with these Dominion-style ideas. Roll for Combat, I think. I haven't watched the episode yet, but I think they had an episode highlighting the idea of D&D without combat. Well, that was a 2-minute diatribe about how you can run D&D without combat, but still scratch that itch of conflict. I will be interested to see how Roll of Combat approached it, and maybe I'll rant about a comparison between the two tomorrow when we're back on in the morning. I probably won't. Maybe I'll have time for Roll for Combat today. I don't know. I might listen to it while I do my day job. But yeah, so it's time for me to go. I'm attempting to quell my muse and to quiet her again so that I can exit this illustration. I notice that my music has already stopped, rather that was rather well-timed. Good job. I hate that my music breaks like that, but it broke at a really sensible spot, so cheers. And I've had a successful rant. Maybe I'll be a little out-ranted for this afternoon so that when we jump on and we start doing more asteroid communities, I'll have less time I need explaining what we do, and we can actually just get into the meat of what we're doing more quickly. I love that. I love doing game design. It's so much fun. I love streaming. I love sharing art like this online. I love sharing ideas like these online. Thanks a lot, guys, for thank you. Icosahedron. Thank you. Icosahedron. Icosahedron. 20-sided die. Icosahedron. Thank you. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the tip. And everyone else that's been hanging out and watching the channel, I really appreciate you. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That'll make me like a real channel. We're at 640 now. God bless you guys. And hopefully I'll see you guys more in the future. So cheers. Later, guy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Chrono. Thanks, man. All right, I'm out.